have one variable here, and I want to show something practical. So let's say I will need to run my scenario. We may even start with the router, right? So let's say yeah, let's do it like this. Let's say I have some action here, and then I will trigger this part, so I will get some variables. Yeah, this will be good. So I will get values from my sheet, right? And let's go to it. Let's clean it. And let's say I want to get the product name, or even product SKU. Let's put it here. We have some timestamp, because we remember we have a filter, right? Let's assume this is timestamp, Unix timestamp. Now you know what does it mean. And I would say this one will be my timestamp, SKU rate. And I'll definitely will have a variable for here. So what if I have some modules here? Let's say even same sleep. And what if I need to get this value here? So by default, if I will run my scenario with the variables from module number 32, you see these variables are not available anymore, because literally speaking, this module does not know that this module exists, right? So if I will run my scenario right now, let's see what will happen. We should get an error. This reference basically not available. Our module wait 10 seconds and then run our Google Sheet, which will to fill the values. Basically we haven't gotten any error, but our value doesn't exist. Okay, let's jump to our sheet number 2. Let's repeat the sequence to see what happened. I will, yeah, so delay set to 1 second now. As you see, nothing added, because system simply does not have an access to this variable, because output from this module goes here and data goes here and we are here. You may run now.line, this was a bad idea. You may run the explanation, right, to understand what actually happens during our run. So data goes here and then goes here, and we can't get it in this point. We can't get it unless we will use our get variable. So that's why we need it. Then we can here, for example, before the module, right? We need to know the name of this variable. I can copy it from here and then simply paste in here. Then I use this SKU for my Google Sheet module. And this will allow us to get the value and place it in the row we need. Let's add it to link 1, for example. We can even rename it here, because this also need to remember. So almost all the time system use these references means nothing for API, because they use, for example, row number, row ID. So for this, only for like visual explanation for the customer. Hope you understand that system won't send the data to column SKU. System will send data to column C in this case. So this is some explanation about this. So let's see what will happen. Our SKU variable now will be added to value of get variable module. So the get variable module got this value and send it to our Google Sheet, and we see it here. Okay, we see the SKU. Oh yeah, this is my bad, because definitely I will need to add the variable here, not the SKU word. Okay, here you go. So our value here. So that's why we need a get variable, and now you know how to basically we have a lot of questions how to merge scenarios. So this is one of the options to merge or get data from different place of your scenario. If you need to get something more complex, you can create a collection. You can even create a collection and then get the value of a collection. Let's try quickly do this. I will use our parse.json because we are familiar with it, and I will create a JSON for a couple of variables. So I will use a time in the quotes. Let's use quotes for our value. I will have the product. And definitely SKU. Okay, so product name, my SKU. We may disable this route. This is also option which you need to know. We may disable this route because we need to test only this one, for example. And this variable now I will set to, I can set it right now because my JSON haven't been run never. This is also a thing you may need to see, understand, and remember that until system runs some modules, you may not be able to map it. I don't see my JSON module because I never ran it before, right? Because usually you build the modules one by one, and then system can see them, but until you run some of them, you may not see them anywhere. Okay, so I will run my scenario. My JSON was successfully created and parsed. I see the variables here, but the thing I want to see, I need to see the collection, not the variables. And I will add the collection here. Let's name it row, for example. And this row will include all my parameters. Let's run it one more time to make sure we got it. And now I will add the row as a value of my variable. So now this variable becomes a collection. And here I will also get a collection. We may still have SKU, or if you prefer, we may rename it to row. Just you need to remember to do it in both places, right? So we get a row. And now my row becomes collection, and after we'll basically test it, because again my system at this moment does not actually know that I will have collection here. So this is the point. I can't see the variables until I get them. In some modules, let's say Google Sheet, you may see them at once as you edit, because we are put the some values for you. So for example, Shopify, we know that Shopify order usually has some values. So we prepare this for you, but until you will get the real data, as in this case, so this module already worked and I see the real data. So this structure based on the data from Shopify in this case. This already structured based on the data from a Google Sheet, because we simply can't know that you will have the column with the name SKU, for example, or product. So if you run if you add the module by default, you will see the only row number, bundle order, and total number of bundles. For example, in this case, for a particular module, search rows, right? Okay. So I will unlink, for example, this one. I will run my scenario to get my collection and map my module. Okay, I need to definitely enable the route for. Okay, so here we go. We should be able to see our collection and map it into our sheet. So I have the SKU, which is here, and let's use email for a prod. We may rename this to make it a little bit beautiful. Timestamp and product, for example. I will remove this and this, and here we go. That's how you send the data from different branch already. And because you're already familiar with the structure, we created the collection, we assigned the value of this collection to this variable, we used get variable to get the value of this variable, the value of this collection, and then we used the properties or variables from this collection to add them to our row. Moving further to the set variable. So we're already familiar with it. This is the module set variable, so you can assign any value to it, right? or any variable also. Table aggregator, text aggregator, and to numeric aggregator, which this one actually was deprecated already. So we have 3 aggregators. I won't explain probably each of them. We will basically check the text, and I probably already showed you it with our increment. No. Okay, so here we go with a text aggregator, and it's easy to explain. Text aggregator with the JSON, which is good, and with our, I won't use JSON because I will aggregate all bundles. Okay, so it's similar to any aggregator we already used, right? For example, we have the array aggregator, but text aggregator I usually use to aggregate the text, usually used to prepare a custom structure for, let's say, JSON and so on and so forth. So again, important rule for aggregators: you need to put and show correct source module. So for example, if I will choose here it will be correct for with any selection, either router or tools or Google Sheet. But in case with the more complex structures, you need to always remember, if you need to just for example consume the bundles, you also may use aggregator. So let's say I have some sequence, and in this point I need to run this module only once, not 72 times. Okay, so for example I will have some rows, okay, so what will happen if I will just run it? My module after this will be triggered several times. Yeah, definitely we had this one here. So all my modules after Google Sheet will be triggered as much as I will have outputs in this bundle. So I have 17 outputs. Each of my module will be triggered 17 times. Let's assume I need to trigger them only once, not 72 times. So with this, I can simply put any aggregator here, select this module if I need to have access to this variable, but if I still need to consume all the bundles produced by Google Sheet. Okay, let's say I need to aggregate all the text from Google Sheet and then parse it in a JSON. So in this case, we got 17 JSONs and parsed them 17 times, and we got this basically thing with every output. What if I need one collection? So that's why I will use the text aggregator. I might put the same thing here, right? So the only thing I will aggregate is my collection. Okay, so let me show you how it works. I'm to aggregate basically same collection as many times as we have rows here. I will use the Google Sheet rows as a source module, and this will produce me this nice collection into one bundle.